So I've done a lot of introspection about what goes on in my head when I'm doing art and why I don't like my own art. And I came up with a cast of characters and that represent the little voices I hear in my head. And I've done a couple of videos about it, and I wanted to just I thought I was done with my little videos, but I want to do one more that's sort of introduces all these different voices that I have, and also what I've realized about it. So first, I just want to introduce my characters. And I'm doing, right now, this is a little picture of a matryoshka doll, which are Russian nesting dolls. And I realized that each of these characters is actually, it's all me. And they're just increased versions of parts of my personality. So it is all me. So the first one I want to introduce to you is the judge. And the judge is the one who waits till the thing is done and then makes commandments. Like, don't try that again. Don't show it to anyone. Explain yourself. Why did you do that? You know, it's the rules, the enforcer of the rules and maker of new rules. And that's the mean part. And then the good part would be, it could be, the judge could be actually like the part of me that reviews something after it's done, where I say, was it fun? Will this work as a card? You know, whatever. It could be the person or the part of me that sets out the rubric of, was it successful? Was I successful in doing what I was trying to do? And then the next character in my head is the coach. And I couldn't really think of another word for coach, but the coach would be the one who makes me competitive with other people and therefore feel less than other people. The coach pushes me until I'm not enjoying it anymore, often making me do things that are irrelevant and not in my wheelhouse, because the coach has this idea how things are supposed to be and is very pushy. The coach is the one that, I'm checking my notes here. The coach is the one that makes me feel guilty about things. When I don't do art, or I skip something, or I try something and don't do it well, the guilt doesn't actually come from the judge part of me, but more of the coach. The coach has these expectations and runs me through these drills that are often the expectations that I have for myself are too much. But the way that I could turn this around is that the coach could identify the areas that need work and give me specific drills, and could also be more, instead of setting me up for being competitive, could be setting me up with inspiration. And so that's reframing when I'm looking at other people's work. Instead of feeling competitive with them or less than, then the coach could be helping me figure out how, what is the inspiration and how can I get there. The next one is the manager. At first I thought the manager was not a good person, a good part of me, but I realize actually now the manager is. The manager is the one who makes sure everything is reasonable, that I have the supplies that I need, or I know what my limitations are. It's sort of a dispassionate or neutral part of me that just says, today I'm going to do this. I have 90 minutes. you know, stuff like that, or just sort of more factual. The problem could be with the manager voice is that they are not supportive. They just assign tasks. So it's possible the manager sets me up with too high of expectations, similar to how the coach does. And also the manager doesn't like it when I don't show up. So maybe too dry sometimes and doesn't consider how I'm feeling. And then the plus side, see, I have a little column of plus and minus. So the plus side of the manager keeps the job moving. It has sort of the eye on the prize. Well, that sounds like a coach too, but the manager knows what the job needs to be, what the job is that needs to be done. Makes sure I have the supplies, doesn't have expectations, except that the manager wants me to show up. So I think the manager actually is on my side, and I just need to not expect the manager part of me to also be the supportive part, that the manager is really just there to make sure the traffic flows like a traffic light, I guess. So then this one, I didn't name it well. I have it as the fault finder, but, and this is when I was thinking that all the voices in my head, and sorry, it sounds like I'm being, like I have voices in my head, but I don't. They're just, it's me talking to myself. But at first I thought the fault finder was a bad part of me and then not helpful, but I realize now that it actually is the most helpful. So when I'm looking through my work and, for example, if I can't seem to get something in the distance to look like it's in the distance, I have to think of this part of me more like a proofreader, like, why did that not work? What can I do to make it work next time? And it's a very simple, clean, it's sort of a joke that when I go to a restaurant, I can always find a typo on the menu. And the thing is, it doesn't change the restaurant, it doesn't change the food, it doesn't change what I order if there's a typo on the menu. So I just need to think of the fault finder or the proofreader as the part of me that can just really easily find maybe one little thing that could be fixed or is wrong, and or not, I don't even want to use the word wrong, that next time I can work on this. And then this is the nice me. And if you watched my last video, the one where I realized what's missing, is just the mom. And so I'm just going to include the mom into this nice me, but the nice me now has sort of two parts. So the mom would be, that's okay, dear, you have fun, you did great, I love everything you do, keep trying, I've got your back. And then the me, the little inner me, which is why I was drawing this. This is, M means nice mom. This is me. It's the child in me. I just want to have fun. I just want to play with my new supplies. You know, I don't like it, crumple it, throw it away is the bad side, or the minus side. So it's all, nice me is the core of my personality. And let's see if I can zoom out. So I have all these, I have them like this because I was thinking of them sort of like puppets. And then I can, I'm just almost finished with my sketchbook, and I'm going to have all of these characters. They're not each going to say something about the page, but about each page, but they will, each page will have one of these guys that shows up. And so I might write some extra notes on the bottom, like this includes the mom. Sorry, I'm holding this shaky. So that's the part one of this video. And so here's part two. I don't know if you're interested, but I just wanted to sort of show you my thought process behind figuring this out. And this is just my page of notes. So I was thinking, instead of having these all be separate parts of me, I actually think of them as all part of me. And to think of, this is me, this is my nice mom, but actually now I'm putting them all together in one. This would be the proofreader, and then this would be the manager, and so on. And then I realized that maybe a better way to do it would be this, here I'm going to point with a brush, that it's me, and then the nice mom, and then the fault finder, the manager, the coach, that they're all parts of me. And then I did this I just went over this with you. So I have the judge waits till it's done to say something. Oh, I wish I wasn't shaking. The judge waits until after it's done to say something. The coach does it while I'm working. I think it's the way that I'm holding my arm. The manager is too impassive. The fault finder is actually proofreader, nice mom, and me. So those are those notes. But so I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the inner me, the child part of me. I was having a discussion with my family, my son and my husband, who took a while before they understood what I was trying to say. What has been happening is that these voices are all really bossy. Make them like this. These voices are like, blah, 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 that wasn't good. You didn't do a good job. You should give this up. Why are you even doing art? But then this one is like, why can't I just enjoy myself the way I used to enjoy myself when I was a kid? So, and then I was thinking about things I know. I grew up with, so I did psychology in college, but before that, I grew up with a hippie mom. And one of the things that she exposed me to was transactional analysis. And I don't know why, but for some reason I was thinking transcendental meditation. And I looked that up and I was like, this doesn't sound right. So I crossed it out. But there are two kind of ideas. And if you've taken like the first year of college psychology, you might already know these things. So first of all, Sigmund Freud, he believed that your personality... This is going to be totally simplified and Arlified. Your personality is divided into three parts, basically. The id is the sort of the childish part of you. I want to eat now. The ego is the part of you that's sort of kind of like my manager, is sort of factual, like, okay, you can have a snack, but just a snack. And then the superego is the bossy one that has picked up rules over a lifetime, and you have to wait until you get a meal, and the meal has to be healthy. And then the way that you can characterize this is I am the id, and the ego thinks of everybody, and the superego doesn't think of themselves, but they're bossing everyone around. And he had this idea that really the id is subconscious, and we're only aware of part of the ego and part of the superego, and that this is your personality or your psyche. I'm sorry about shaking. So bouncing off of Freud was this guy named Berne, and it was a little later, but kind of the same era, and he came up with a thing called transactional analysis. And he was less interested in your psyche, like what state you're stuck in, but more how do you communicate with other people. And so I was reading this morning, trying to see if these guys fit into this. And one thing is that transactional analysis only works for people who are able to and willing to look at themselves. And I think there are people who can't. Either they can't or they don't want to. So I think that's what I've been doing with this whole, trying to figure out why I don't like my own art. So transactional analysis is very similar, but it's more about how you transact with others, and you move from state to state. So he has parent, adult, and child, and they're really similar to the superego, ego, and id. So Freud was discussing your psyche, and that this is suppressed and inside you. And that's the reason for a lot of your problems. But Eric Berne, so let me see if I can read my writing. So the child is represented or expressed as spontaneous enjoyment. The adult is the traffic light and just the sensible person part. And the parent is the rules, and also just like the superego, kind of influenced by your lifetime of being told what to do and how things are done. So in Eric Berne's transactional analysis model, you need to, it is a mark of emotional intelligence to be able to see yourself as a combination or a person who moves back and forth between these three parts. And this is his book, Games People Play, or that's his second book, but that's the one that I read sadly when I was like 7. So it's a long story. So transactional analysis is basically, this is so basic, but I'm doing the super quick version. So what Eric Berne would do is he would look at how you're talking, how you're interacting with other people. You actually want to live in the adult to adult transaction most of the time, where the adult is, so this is like person number 1, and this is person number 2. The adult will say, you know what, we've spent enough time at work, let's let off work early and go walk through the park, and then the parent would be like, yeah, but don't forget it's laundry day, like that kind of thing. But transaction is where how you talk to others. So you might find when you go back home and visit your parents, you might be the manager of a bank or something, but you go home to talk to your parents, and instantly you go back to whatever age, psychologically, you go back to whatever age you were when you moved out. So if you moved out when you were 16, even if you're 60, you go back to your parents' house and you start to feel like you're having this relationship, even though you should be having this relationship. And so that's what transactional analysis is the kind of imbalance of and lack of acknowledgement of the imbalance. So it is perfectly natural to move for this person 1 to move back and forth between these 3, and person 2 to move back and forth between these 3 as you're interacting with others, but you want to make an attempt to try to stay adult to adult in your interactions most of the time while you're acknowledging and working with the child and the parent part of your personality. You still want to strive to be in the adult. So I see how this relates to this, that I need to acknowledge these other parts and voices that are saying, that was dumb, you shouldn't have tried this, you're no good, you don't deserve the nice paper, why did you even do this? And I need to acknowledge the child in me. But I can see how staying in the child, or in this, the me, the core, could become sort of an arrogant position where it's like, I can do whatever I want, no one can tell me what to do, and I'm an artist and everything I do is gold. So I think what I need to do is to work on integrating all of these. And so that's my goal that's my goal coming up. And I think I have 2 pages left in my next sketchbook. And I'm going to work through this last part. And I made this video separately so that you wouldn't have to do this with the flip through. So thank you so much for paying attention, and let me know if you think I've really misrepresented something. And I'm also really curious whether this helps you in any way, because that's what I really want. I could just keep all this to myself and work through this myself, but it's fun for me to think that my own work might help somebody else in a similar situation. Thanks.